Hi, it's Steve. Today we'd like to show you how to change the 6-inch element on your range. It's a really easy repair. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, the first thing we'll need to do is to disconnect power to the range. So either pull it far enough forward that you can unplug it, or locate your electrical panel, turn off the appropriate breaker, or remove the appropriate fuses. Once we've done that, we can start the repair. Now that we have the power disconnected to the range, our next step will be to remove the main top so that we can do this repair. It's held in place with 2 1/4-inch hex head screws that come up from the bottom and secure it to the oven body. To remove those, we'll need to open up the upper door and simply take those 2 screws out. Now with the 2 screws removed at the front of that main top, we next need to flex that top enough to lift it off of the 2 hinge points in underneath the console, and then we'll pull it far enough forward that we can remove the harness plugs and the ground screw. So simply lift up slightly on that top, lift up on one side, pull it away. Do the same for the opposite side. And then just carefully pull it ahead about 6 inches, then we can get in behind and remove those harnesses and ground screw. So simply reach in and depress the 2 locking tabs for each of those harness connectors. Once you've unplugged them both, you'll have better access to that ground screw. It's a 1/4-inch hex head screw. Just remove the screw, make sure that the harnesses are clear, and then we're going to lift that main top up out of the way. We'll set it on a suitable work surface, and we can change out that element. Now with the main top removed, we've set it on a soft, flat surface. Now to remove this element, we'll need to first of all remove all of the wires from the terminals, and then we'll remove the 2 mounting clips and lift the old element out of the way. In removing the wires, we'll want to take note of the location of each, and if the replacement element is different than the original, you'll need to consult the installation sheet that was packed with that new element to ensure that we have the wires put on in the proper place. So in removing those wires, we suggest to either use a flat blade screwdriver to gently pry them off of the terminals, try to avoid wiggling them back and forth. That tends to loosen them. Now with the wires removed, we're next going to release the 2 spring clips. Before we do so, just take note of the location of them on the old element. You'll note that all of the holes around the perimeter of that element are numbered. So we'll make sure that we take note of the 2 numbers involved. Then with a pair of needle nose pliers, I'm simply going to flex that spring clip towards the element and up. That will release the small hook on the end of it. Do the same for the opposite side. You can then lift off the old element and discard it. With the element removed, we'll take the opportunity to clean up the bottom of that surface. We're simply going to place the new element into position. We'll try to line up the mounting tabs in the appropriate spot. Then we'll reattach those mounting clips. Then we're ready to reattach the wires to the terminals. Make sure they fit on nice and snug. If they appear a little bit loose, simply take your needle nose pliers and just crimp them slightly. Now, once we have the wires reattached, we're now ready to take that whole main top assembly and we'll put it back on the oven. Just carefully place that top back about 6 inches from the console. We'll begin by locating that ground wire and securing it to the metal bracket. We'll reconnect the wire harnesses. Make sure they're firmly pressed onto the connector, making sure that the locking tabs engage. And once we've done that, we'll need to make sure that these hooks at the top of that backsplash engage the pins in underneath the console. So having a firm grip on both sides of that top, we'll just tilt it up slightly. Make sure those hooks engage the pins in underneath the console. Ensure that both sides are engaged, and lower that top down onto the 2 strikes on top of the side panels. And then we're ready to reinstall the 2 screws along the front. We're now ready to push the oven back into place, reconnect the power, and your repair is complete.